episode 23 right here on News Talk Saga 960 AM of Trout Talk with my colleagues here, Brendan Lang and Zack Bodenstein. Guys, well, how are we doing?
Go ahead, Zack.
I'm good. Ego's sky high. So you guys know me. You know that like a compliment with me goes like a million miles, right? So 3 times in the last 2 days in the gym, people are coming up to me noticing progress. Now I look at myself probably 4,500 times a day. So I don't really see it. Like when you fixate on something, whether it's hockey or like work, whatever it is, you're not really noticing the small little progressions, but people who haven't seen me in a while apparently are. So that made me feel good because I obviously put a lot of work into it. And then, work stuff is going well also. People are taking notice with that. So for me, like, I don't like to let outside voices influence who I am, but at the same time, it's nice when it's positive feedback. So I'm just trying to straddle that line of like not being influenced or not taking things to heart too much, but when good things are told to you, that's always nice. So the ego's sky high, guys. I'm feeling good.
That's good to hear, Zack. I think with the gains part of it, I remember saying that to you at the game when we were trying to record our pregame, segment there with Mikey and Adana, our junior broadcaster there, and you were on there, and I kept trying to move the camera, but I couldn't fit you in the screen. You were just too big. And I kept trying to get you in there, but it just wouldn't work. So there's the the progress is coming with that. But anyways, yeah, for me, I mean, I feel like I come on here and say the exact same thing every week. So I think that's kind of the same thing now. Working, and that's pretty much it. Just doing the same thing every week, week in and week out. Got a good routine going.
Routine is good.
What do you do? Watch movies in the basement there, Brendan?
No, I'm actually not a movie guy at all. Like I probably watched 2 movies in 2023. Like I only watch movies that I've already seen. Like I don't know. I'm just not a movie guy. I've always got sports on. I don't have time to watch movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't watch a movie when you're about to go to sleep. A scary movie, I mean. Don't watch a scary movie before you go to go to sleep. I'll just tell you that right now. Oh my God. I'll tell you, I can't. What was that movie I watched the other night? I can't remember it now. But anyway, it was really, really scary, and I thought that people were under my bed or something, like late at night. Yeah. Oh yeah, like that's how much I was freaking out. Like I was sweating in my sleep. Yeah.
I don't know. Are you usually
I know what it's called. Okay. It was called Don't Hang Up.
I feel like I've heard of that.
You've heard of it?
Yeah, I think I have.
So it's a bunch of guys that crank call people, right? Okay. And they crank called the wrong guy. And they thought it was funny. I'll just leave it at that. Oh my goodness. I was sweating in my sleep. I was getting up. I was grabbing the thing, and she was saying, "What the heck's wrong with you?" And I said, "Oh, nothing's wrong with me," and whatever. And she said, "It's just a movie." I said, "Oh yeah, I know. Okay." I go back to sleep, whatever. Then what the? Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Are you usually a horror movie guy? Like, is that your?
No.
Oh, you're not.
No, I used to be. You know what? I used to be a horror movie guy when it came to like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like those things make me laugh. Friday the 13th.
Classics, yeah.
Right. Like these new horrors, though, man, oh man, whoo! I tell you, that's all I have to say. So,
well, the advances in technology too, like they can make it so much scarier.
Right.
Oh my gosh, like, yeah, don't this movie, yeah. So yeah, they can really make it so much scary. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. So don't watch a movie before you go to bed, kids. I mean, a scary movie. Watch a funny. Watch something funny. Watch something like Seinfeld. Right?
That's a
Seinfeld's
good one.
Good
call.
Watch something like the Costanzas yelling at each other and stuff like that. That makes me laugh. Frank Costanza, hey, who's the best on Seinfeld? Really,
it's a great question.
Frank is underrated because he's not like a main character, but every appearance he makes is like 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I like them all.
I agree. I think Kramer's a pretty easy answer. I feel like a lot of people are going to say that. But I like George personally a lot too. I'm trying to think of like non-main characters. Like you just mentioned there, but I can't. Oh, Steinbrenner! I love Steinbrenner. I think that's a great character.
It's Larry David's voice too. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Man, Newman kills me, man. He's just like he doesn't take himself too seriously. Like I think he plays the part so well. Like I love it.
I like George and Estelle. Or sorry, Estelle and Frank when they're
they're
yelling at each
hilarious
other.
too.
Oh my goodness, George, you have such beautiful hands. You never said that to me. You ever seen that? She says to George, do you want some Jello? And then George goes, he didn't say nothing, and Frank goes, why'd you put the bananas in there? She goes, George likes the bananas. Well, he can have bananas on the side. Like they're just like yelling at each other. It's just hilarious. I don't know.
Oh man.
Anyway, classic like Seinfeld. That's something you should watch before you go to sleep. Don't watch.
Good call.
Yeah.
Life tips early on.
Yeah, sure. Well, no, yeah, I guess so. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the Steelheads past week, boys. Back to hockey. Couple losses and a win. A big win against the Sudbury Wolves. Ryerson Leaders was absolutely phenomenal. 46 of 47 shots. He stopped on net on goal that day. And then a 4-2 loss to North Bay the next day. It seemed like the boys were out of gas a little bit that day. There was a bug going on around the room. And I still think the bug was still going on. A loss 3-1 against the Sarnia Sting. Guys, let's start off. Whoever wants to start off, with the Sudbury. Let's start off with the Sudbury game. What'd you guys like in that game?
I think the easy answer of what you like in that game is Ryerson Leaders, and you had talked about it too. There's kind of a bug going around. It's the trip out there up north, so maybe there was kind of some tiredness going into that as well. They were outshot in that game by quite a bit, but Ryerson Leaders was absolutely magnificent. And sometimes you need your goalie to steal games like that, and he's done it. All season long. So is Ivan Kovic. I know Ivan Kovic's hurt right now as well, but sometimes you're not going to have your best stuff every time you go out there. That's just how it works in sports, and especially hockey when you have a long season and a young team like Mississauga. But you need your goaltender to come through, and he came through in that game, and he's come through time and time again for this team.
Yeah, it's been crazy for Ryerson. I was talking to his dad, Gordon, and I was just like, he likes to ride the hot hand. Like once he gets the net, he obviously no goalie wants to give up the net, but with Jack out, Ryerson's the guy. He's played 3-3s, guys, recently. Like he's the guy right now. So he's taken it upon himself, and I really like how he's embracing this role. Kind of what he did last year. Similar situation when the other goaltender's out. Ryerson's the guy between the pipes. He really showed it against Sudbury, and again stole the game for them for sure. Unfortunately, didn't work the next night. But in North Bay, Mikey, really big fan of Misa and McDonnell. Like that big three. I always call them the triple M's on the broadcast. Misa, McDonnell, Martone really carrying this team offensively, but also in all situations. You could really say that they're doing a really good job on the defensive side of the puck. Neutral zone plays really improved as a whole, as a unit. But that big three, man, they are doing everything right now, and they're all still young. They've all got a few years left in the O. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like McDonnell played absolutely phenomenal for both games on the Northern road trip, right? Like he was just fighting through that puck, through that bug. Todd Sharp was in and out of the lineup as well. Parker Von Richter, he played about maybe like 40-50% in both of those games. So, they need a healthy lineup. They need a healthy lineup. They need to get back to that swarming bees, as I said. I always like to say with the wasps, right? As soon as somebody touches the puck, and then boom, here comes the forecheck. But yeah, those guys have been playing absolutely phenomenal. Zach, absolutely, I totally agree with you on that. And against the Sarnia Sting, I think it maybe just ran into a hot goalie, right? Ran into a hot goalie there, and he was stopping absolutely everything. Serzicha. But tough loss 3-1 to Sarnia Sting, but they got a tough week ahead, the Steelheads. So they got to get back to the winning ways, back to the forecheck and stuff like that, guys.
Yeah, I think for Sarnia, I think you said it well there. They did run into a hot goalie. The first period, they had maybe a little bit of a slow start, but they turned it on. They were the better team in that game, to my estimation. And as the game sort of wore on, they were able to control the puck in the Sarnia zone a little bit better than they did possibly in the first period. They had a couple cycle chances, a couple chances off the rush as well. And then they get that one goal there with Van Volsen putting it in on the rebound. And you think, okay, they're kind of back in this now. And then Sarnia comes back and kind of gets that quick goal where you're starting to gain a little bit of momentum, and then they just kind of zap it and take the lead right back. But I do think that running into a hot goalie was probably the biggest aspect of that game, and what allowed the Sarnia Sting to win that one.
Yeah, Nick Serzichka was excellent. Let's give him credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, Mikey. I think there was a bit of a lag here. We're doing this online. So yeah, so I think Nick Szerzicka was excellent. I mean, you got to give him credit. Like, they have run into some hot goalies this year. We've talked about Sam Hillebrand. We've talked about Nick Szerzicka. Sometimes you just get goalied. It happens. But, I mean, you could have a top 5 penalty kill like the Steelheads have. But if you continue to march to the penalty box, you're going to get burned. And that's what happened. I mean, the penalties ultimately were the difference, in my opinion. You could talk goaltending, but special teams always come up huge. We know how good the Steelheads are 5-on-5. If they can just stay that way and draw more penalties, I think, great analysis here, Zach, but I think that would really help them out if they were to just stay out of the penalty box.
Totally agree.
So that's a huge thing for me. Also, a big non-call when Mark Boudreau gets hit up high by Lukasz Fischer.
Right. So, I couldn't understand that.
So Fischer follows through, like, up. He goes up at his face. Boudreau's clutching his face. There's blood dripping down. They literally had to come on and scrape the blood off the ice, and then they put 4 minutes on the board, and then they just take it off, and they deem it no penalty at all.
Right. And
so that was a weird one, because that could have been a huge swing. You get 4 minutes of power play time, and you get, in my opinion, the best Sarnia Sting player off the ice.
There was the first there was a no call, but now they can go back and look at it, and that's what they did. And then they said, no penalty, all good. No, but there's blood on the ice, and he takes a high hit. All right.
Right, and they went into the box and told him, to leave the penalty box, and we both thought, oh, okay, he's getting ejected from the game. We all thought he was. He's just going back to the bench. I've never seen the no penalty and then the review afterwards. Like, that was a first for me. I hadn't seen that
seen it before. I've seen that.
Yeah,
before
okay.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that this year in some of the games. Like, sometimes they'll review it and then go back and say, oh no, there is no penalty at all. So that's just the way it goes. She goes sometimes, as they say. So, but it's too bad. All right. Well, we'll get to our special guest when we come back on Trout Talk right here at News Talk Saga 960 AM. All right. Welcome back to Trout Talk right here on Saga 960 AM. Mike Karafilidis along with Zack Bodenstein and Brendan Lang. And we'd like to welcome in our special guest this week. It is MacGregor Richmond. And there he is. There's MacGregor.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, how's it going, my man? Good.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on. You got a nice blue light back there. Anybody can see. Oh, my goodness, you look like you're in a club or something.
It's like raving.
Yeah, I got them around the whole room.
All you got to do is get the things, the glow things going. Eh?
Yeah, they changed color. I can put them on that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, MacGregor, thanks for coming on, my man. First question. I mean, what a year! What a year it's been for you. A big turnaround year, as far as I'm concerned. You played really, really hard out there. Every time you get out there, it seems like something happens in a good way. I'm just waiting for you to get on the board. What's been working well for you this year?
I think just focusing on the little details. Those are a big part of the game. Everyone in this league is a good player, so everyone can do most of the same stuff. But if you can really get those little details refined, it really helps your game, and it just helps you get more chances for, less chances against. It just helps a lot to make sure you're practicing those details. So that I say is probably the biggest thing for me, especially my first year, making sure I get all the details down so that I can grow as a player throughout the next couple of years.
And you're saying right there, like, it is your first full season here in the OHL, but you did get into 8 games last year with the Steelheads. So how much did that kind of help you to prepare for this upcoming year?
Yeah, I think that helped a tremendous amount getting in those 8 games. I got to not only see what the play style was like and, the level of hockey that it is, but getting to be in and around the guys and getting that, schedule, that everyday thing, that also helped me, know what to expect for this year in sort of like an everyday thing. So it's not as big of a change as, some people who wouldn't know what to expect. So I think in that aspect, it helped a lot.
What was asked? Because I was kicked from this. I need to know what was asked so I don't repeat questions.
All right. I'll start off with you with this next one. I want to know, you were around some real champions last year, MacGregor. You're around Nathan Del Mastro, James Hardy, some real big guys, Luca Del Belbaluz. Now you're around, guys like Porter Martone, Angus McDonnell. You're around some really good guys. But what did you learn? What did you learn the most last year? Now, I know you didn't get into a lot of games last year, but what did you learn the most last year off the older guys?
It's a grind. It's an everyday thing. Those older guys set a really good example for a lot of the younger guys, and I think it's really showing this year with a young team that we have, yet we still have the leaders. I think that's a lot of credit to the older guys of last year. Guys that were there last year and aren't there this year, even guys that are still here, like Sharpie, he's our captain. The example set by the older guys over the last couple of years really, really rubs off on the young guys. And I think that, just seeing how they do it every day, and those guys are going to the pro level. Like you see Delbell right now is in the AHL. Same thing with Del Mastro. He's going to the AHL All-Star game. Like you see it pays off, and you can see how much time these guys put in. So it really rubs off on the younger guys. And I think you could see it this year with our young group still having the maturity to be able to be a winning team and, battle through adversity.
And you talk about some of the veteran players, but also, I mean, like you just said, it's a really young team this year. And for you kind of playing in your first season, you played a lot with guys like Witkowski and Sherratt, who were still kind of in their first season as well, Eggleton and other guys. So what's it been to kind of be able to play on a line with them and kind of have that consistency and all of you guys sort of in the same spots of your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good because I'm with those guys most of every day, pretty much. I drive Witkowski and Draguska to school every morning, and then I drive usually Sherratt and Witkowski from school to the rink every day. So I'm with those guys the whole day, and then sometimes after the rink I have to drive them home. So
big brother MacGregor.
It's a thing outside of the rink as well. It's not just at the rink. You're around these guys all the time. So the guys that I hang out with most turn out to be my line mates. I think that's a pretty cool thing, and it really helps build chemistry and stuff in the locker room. Having a tight group like we do, I think it helps a lot, not only being buddies within the room, but outside it, hanging out quite a bit as well.
MacGregor, you're very comfortable not only on this interview but kind of around on the ice, but also around the rink. We see how you carry yourself, and you really do seem a lot older than you actually are. Does that have to do with kind of growing up around the rink, being around this team well before you were drafted? Does that kind of help being around it a little bit more?
I think it definitely does. I mean, I don't think if I was here, when I used to visit as a kid, I don't think if I used to do that, I'd be, as comfortable or seem as comfortable as I am. But it's all credit to, JR bringing me to the rink a lot. He brought me to the rink a lot as a kid. I used to, miss some days of school just to come in and practice with the older guys. And, back then you see these guys, you think, oh my God, they're so old. And then now when you're one of them, it's like, you're in the same boat as they were. So yeah, I think growing up around it definitely helped me. I've known Freitzy for a long time. I've known a lot of the coaching staff that's gone in and out. I've known, a lot of people, a lot of players that were on the team. I met them even before. So I think it's a cool dynamic in that, I grew up around this rink really. Jared came here when I was 10 years old. So it's been quite a few years of me in and around the Paramount Fine Food Center. So I think it's definitely helped quite a bit.
Quite the singer too. Quite the singer. Anybody wants to know, I mean, we were coming back from, I gotta tell the story,
Erie.
Mac. Yes, I gotta tell the story, man.
He knows.
All right, so here comes, everybody's they're doing karaoke, and there was no chance of me doing it. MacGregor went up there. Oh, wow. I mean, he was singing Vanilla Ice like he was like on the stage. Like I was actually getting into it. I couldn't believe it, just to let everybody know. And if you have a career outside of hockey, if you want a second job or a third job or a fourth job, you'd be a millionaire, my friend. You'd be a millionaire. You'd be a millionaire being a rapper or a freestyle kind of guy. He was unbelievable, everybody. Unbelievable. He was singing. He was getting right into it. I was actually getting into it. He was right there, and I'm just like, yeah, right? Right.
No, it was pretty cool. I was really nervous to go up there. I've witnessed that karaoke for a long time, and I like that the younger guys kind of made a competition out of it, which was pretty cool. And then even some of the older guys got into it, which was nice. And I was stressing, man, after the game when I heard that we were doing it. I was like, oh my God. I was trying to pick a song. Like I listen to a lot of different genres of music. So I was trying to pick a song that I knew, but also a song that the guys on the bus would like. And thankfully I picked a good song that I already knew a lot of the lyrics to. And also thankfully they were only making the guys go for about, a minute max, which was very helpful for me.
Oh, you went over a minute.
Yeah, I think mine was like 2 minutes.
You went like 3 or 4 minutes.
Like,
everybody was just getting into it.
it was nerve-wracking beforehand, but once I got up there and I started rapping it, and the boys kind of got into it and started giving me a beat on the bus, it kind of just made me feel like, okay, like I can just keep going with this and hopefully they'll like it. So it ended up being pretty good. So I enjoyed that for sure.
I loved it. Absolutely amazing. I came home and I told the family, I told the wife, I go, you gotta listen to this guy. I mean, whatever. She wants to know the stories, right? She said, that's awesome, right? But that's great. And that keeps you guys together, those kind of things. And that night, buddy, you stole the show on the way home. I'll tell you that. And at the rink, you did awesome in that game as well. And you've been really doing well this year on the face-offs. I'll tell you that right now.
Thank you.
Who do you credit to the face-offs this year? Would it be the master of last year, Jeff Kurzakos, Stefan Thorne this year? Good combination, right? Who do you give credit?
I would say, Cracks helped me a lot last year, but I wasn't really a full centerman last year. Again, I was only there for 8 games. I was there for a lot more practices, but I was, switching center and wing depending on the lineup. I think this year is actually my first year full-time center, and I think it's a lot of credit to Stefan Thorne. At the end of practice, we kind of do a split, and the D go in one end, the forwards go in another end, and he usually brings the center into the middle, and he's helped us, a ton of different types of strategies, like how to things that we can work on to try to win. Getting your hand lower, bending your knees, adding in your feet to it, and also different ways of winning the draw. So you're not only knowing how to win one way, you can adapt to who you're playing against. And I think it's a lot of credit to him and his organizing of even outside the rink. We get emails and we can watch face-offs, watch how they're done, see our wins and our losses, and see what we're doing right and wrong. So I think it's a lot of time going over it. And, hopefully we keep improving, because I think it's something that as a team we can definitely improve on. But all credit to him for getting us started with it. I think a lot of guys would say the same thing. He's definitely helped us quite a bit.
And kind of on the coaching aspect, Zach alluded to a little bit earlier, but of course your dad, JR, being the head coach, I mean, that's a different experience than most guys are going to have. What is that dynamic like? I mean, is he riding you a lot? You see him more often than all the other players. So what's that kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's his first time ever being my coach, and it's my first time playing for him, which is, I think, helps quite a bit, because I played for different coaches all growing up, which I think helped me a lot. I had that normal, coach to player relationship, and it really hasn't changed this year. Going to the rink, it's strictly professional. I don't live at home anymore. I go home every once in a while, see the family, the dog, my mom, my sister.
Rave.
Oh yeah.
Rave back there. Oh,
exactly. And
those lights.
I have the lights in my house too. It's a little thing for my room at my house.
Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead, right? I just love those.
So yeah, I mean, I go home every once in a while, but I see him just like the rest of the guys at the rink every day, and I'll talk to him once in a while, whether it's about school or something that happened at home that he wants to tell me about, something funny about the dog. But other than that, it's a really professional relationship, and I think it shows a lot, within the room and even on the bus around the teams. I'm sure Mike could preach to that as well. I mean, 100%. At the rink, it's very, very professional, and I think as a first year player, it's good to keep it that way and then build that for my coming years, just so I'm part of the team as well. I'm not going to get any special treatment. It's going to be the same for me like it is for the rest of the players, which I think is credit to him as well for being able to recognize that and do that.
He's always run a tight ship, a professional ship. So it's good to see that he's doing that with you. Now, obviously, you mentioned just now that you're not living at home. You're living with a billet. What's the importance to that? Because obviously you could be a little bit more comfortable and live at home with dad and coach, but now you're getting the full OHL experience. So talk about the differences.
I really like it. It's nice to go home every once in a while, but I'm sure everyone feels the same way about that. I like, living at the billet house because it gives me a chance to really hang out with the guys every day. I don't have to commute, all the way home. I can hang out with the guys after. I can go to school with the guys. I feel like I'm more involved with the team and more a teammate rather than linked up with the coach. I feel like I'm more part of the team rather than just an outsider. So I think that was a big difference between this year and last year. Last year living at home, and this year fully being part of it. That's one thing that I think has really helped me a lot. Just, becoming part of the team, especially as, again, like a first year guy, you want to make a good impression and you want to be well liked by your teammates. So I think living at the billet house, living like everyone else does, I think it's really good just for, the relationships with your teammates.
You were that close to scoring. I got to say it again. I know I interviewed you, but you were close to scoring that Michigan. You were close. What was going through your head? And you should have went through with it. Why did you stop?
Yeah, I mean, the puck.
You had it. I'm telling you.
I should have passed it. Should have passed it out to high slot for Marty, but I made a mistake and put it down low, and then it was not a great pass, so it kind of bobbled a little bit, went through Zebra's legs, and I picked it up behind the net, and I didn't see a load of high play available, and I also didn't see it, a pass to the slot open, so I figured, I don't know, it was just in the moment. I was like, might as well try it. And I mean, I got it on my stick, put it out there, but the D hit my stick and it went out into the slot anyway. So I got a lot of flack for that after the game in the dressing room for the next couple of days. So I don't know if I'll be trying that again for a while. I don't want to get the guys are going to be on me again.
We asked Cody who taught you that, and he's like, I don't even know how to do it. So I don't know where he learned it, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Just over the last couple of years, you've seen it, become a trend. And I don't know. I thought it might be a good chance to try it. I didn't see any plays available. So I thought, the worst that could happen is it would be the same outcome as me forcing a pass in the slot if it gets broken up. So I might as well try it and see what happens.
And was that the first time you tried it in a game, or have you done it before?
No, I've tried it in a game in U16. I did it in our last regular season game of the season. I actually remember it was the third period against Vaughan Kings in Herb Carnegie, Nats versus Vaughan Kings, and I did it behind the net, and that one I actually hit his blocker in that game, which was kind of cool, but the goalie made a good save on it, so I didn't try it last year at all, only practices.
Did you turn around the goalie and say, that close?
Oh, no. I didn't say anything to the goalie. I tried it this summer in spring hockey, and the other team didn't like it at all, and they were all yelling at me. So not a lot of people like when you try it. So I think I'm done for a while.
I love how you were close. I loved that. I was like, oh. Hey,
MacGregor, I notice you're always talking to the referees. Now, they may not be pleasant conversations. They may be pleasant conversations. Has that always been you? Like, were you like 8 years old and always chatting with the referees, or is that something new in junior?
I think I did it a fair amount when I was in, minor hockey. A lot of it comes from a lot of the refs knowing JR. So they see my last name and sometimes they'll come up to me and start talking to me. So I know a lot of them who have known him. And then other times, maybe it might be about a call. But it's not always, a negative one. Sometimes I'm just asking them about something that happened in the play that I was confused about, something that I thought might have been like let's say a face-off, like I think it should be here, and they explain to me why it's there. Like sometimes I just go over and ask them questions about why things are going where, just so I can understand better for next time. So yeah, it's not always me mad at them. A lot of the times it's either me talking to them because they've met me before, or they know JR, or it's me asking questions about.
Who do you model your game after? Who do you watch the most and say, this is the most generic question ever, but we've never asked you this yet?
Yeah, I mean, it's something for me that I've had to think about quite a bit, switching positions. Growing up, I was always a right winger, and then U16, I played pretty much the full season at left wing. So I was looking at people who played, offside and strong side all the way growing up. So growing up, I thought of guys like Tyler Toffoli, who I've trained with quite a bit, and I feel like I modeled my game a lot after him in terms of the way we play. Getting older, Tyler Toffoli is 6'1", 6'2", so I had to pick a guy that was probably a little bit closer to my size. So I was thinking of guys, obviously you got your Marchands, but I was thinking more along the lines of Jonathan Marchessault on Vegas. He's a good 200-foot winger who,
yes.
He gets points, but he's a gritty guy and he goes all up and down the ice. And then moving to center, recently you got to think of new ones. Obviously, you don't want to be watching the wingers all the time. So a guy that I like to watch a lot, obviously, is Sidney Crosby, because he's so good on faceoffs and he's such a complete player. But a younger guy that I think models the game really well, 200 foot, but also a good leader and gets quite a few points is Nick Suzuki on the Montreal Canadiens. I think that's a pretty good player to watch as well. So I like watching the centers who are obviously responsible in their own zone, who create chances 200 foot, and guys that are good on faceoffs. So that's really what I've been looking at recently.
I got one for you. Your dad will know him. Scott Nickel played.
Scott Nickel.
Yes. So he played fourth line center. He was like really good on faceoffs, gritty, really good defensively, extremely good penalty killer. Your dad will know him, but for me, that's what I see with you, and that's the total role that you've embraced this year as a rookie. So look into him, because I really like. If you look at the tape, I really like the way he played.
For sure, I'll do that.
And you mentioned they're being kind of gritty, and I think you do play with that sort of edge. You got a fight this year. I think it was Charlie Hilton on Ottawa. Was that your first fight?
Yeah, it was my first fight. Yeah.
You did well.
Have you like practiced before? Did you know what you were doing in there? Just kind of.
I mean, yeah, I've been prepared for doing that a long time. You know, JR was quite a scrapper when he played, so he's always grown up teaching me little tips about how to kind of be a little bit of a rat on the ice. So, you know, when you get into that fight, you know, you can use everything, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to do the best you can. And yeah, probably a little bit of size mismatch there. Probably not the smartest decision on my point, but you know, he dropped the gloves, and I'm really not one to, you know, try to shy away. So I think it's better me drop them and see where it goes rather than shy away and look like I didn't want to be part of that game, you know? So I just decided to drop them and get the first one out of the way, I guess.
Boy. Did so well. I was proud of you.
Once you get one in, then it's like the rest is cake. It's easy.
Right.
You've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they go better than that one. I mean, from now on, I make sure my fighting strap's on as well as I can get it, because in that one I got jerseyed pretty bad, so...
And you took on one of the biggest guys in the league, like not only on their team but in the league. So now anything after that's just going to be like, I've fought bigger than you. What are you going to do? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it could have gone worse with a guy that just got 8 inches on you. So yeah, it's all right. I'm not too mad about it. Of course, I get teased every once in a while, but you know, it's worth it. I'd rather get teased for losing a fight rather than chickening out of one. So
that's right. Be a leader, not a follower, right?
Yeah.
There it is, right there. All right, you know what, MacGregor? Let's talk about. I just want to talk about the team right now. The team is kind of in a little bit of a bug was going around. You know, guys are getting sick or whatnot. What's the status of the guys right now? Everybody feeling a lot better, 100%?
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are feeling better. We had practice today. A lot less coughing in the room, I could tell you that. It's not coughs left, right, and center, which is nice. I think we had 10 guys that might have been sick. It felt like half the team, but you know, we had a couple days to rest before the Sarnia game. There were still a couple guys sick, but you know, I think through the week we've gotten a lot healthier, which is really nice to hear. Guys are making good improvements, and it's a lot less sick in that dressing room, I'll tell you that.
That's good.
And last thing for me, we were just talking about it before you came on, but the goaltending, Ryerson, Leaders was great in Sudbury. Both those guys have been great all year. What does that do for you guys as players to know that you have such quality guys back there, whether whoever's in the net, it doesn't matter, either guy, to just know that you can maybe play with that a little more aggressiveness up front when you know that you have them back there?
I think it's great. You look at all winning teams, you know, teams that really go far in the playoffs, teams that have had, you know, really lots of success, you know, regular season and playoff teams. They always have good goalies, and a lot of them don't just have one good goalie. They have 2 good goalies, and we have 2 of the best. I can't say enough good things about Ryerson and Jack. They've been lights out for us this year, and they bail us out a lot more than we bail them out. So I think that's just great for them to be able to do that and have the season that they're having. I think they're both, you know, phenomenal goaltenders and really good guys. I enjoy having both of them on the team, you know, not only on the ice because, like I said, they bail us out quite a bit, but, you know, in the dressing room, they're both funny guys. So I think it's great that we have 2 young, really high-end goaltenders. It gives us a lot of confidence on the ice to be able to make plays and know that we have guys back there that will make those saves when we need them. And as long as we get, you know, those chances, those goals when the team needs them. So it's really good for the players and really good as a team, you know, to have that rock back there, both of them.
Yeah, some GM took a goalie off the board first 2 years in a row, and nobody thought it would work out. But I think it's been a pretty good move.
Yeah. Why did he do that? Why did he do this? You know, guys, people messaging me. Why did he take a goalie? It's like, well, what's going on now? Anyway, I know that's
MacGregor. The last
piggyback
thing for me, this is going to air right before the Brantford Bulldogs game. Now, this is again a young team. You've got them 4 more times this year. What can you say about Brantford? What's the scouting report on them?
Well, I mean, they're having a lot of success this year. I think they're first in the conference, if not first in their division right now. So, you know, we haven't played them since they made a few trades, I believe. We played them 2 weekends ago, but we play them this weekend at home, and then I believe we play them the next weekend in Brantford. So we've been seeing a lot of them recently, and they're a hard team to play against. You know, that they have guys that, you know, we've seen. They're older guys. We saw them a couple years ago when we played them in the playoffs. They have guys from last year. It's always a big rivalry between the two teams, I think, over the last 3-4 years, even when they were in Hamilton. And since they've moved, I don't see any dying down of that rivalry. So, you know, it's going to be, you know, a tough, hard fought game, probably pretty physical, as I think we lead the league in penalty minutes by a lot, which is not always a great thing. But if you're winning, I mean, it's all right, I guess, for the most part. You know, you can take penalties to an extent. You know, we do have to be more disciplined, but you got two teams who, you know, can rough it up and are not afraid to. So I think it's going to be a really good game, fast-paced, physical, and probably pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you've gotten better and better and better. It's just like your growth is absolutely amazing. Like on the ice, you're like I said, your face-offs, your shot is. I mean, you had a couple great chances against the North Bay Battalion to bury a couple, and I was like, oh dang it, you know, to myself, you know, I had to bite my lip. You know, close, but you know what I mean, right? So it's coming for you, and you know, just keep shooting the puck. As far as I'm concerned, your game is getting better and better. So who do you this year? I mean, I know you give credit to Stefan Thorne and all that, but how much does your dad take you aside and say for video and say, all right, you know, 10 hours, let's talk about this, or 8 hours, or whatever?
Well, I mean, I do video quite a bit with a mix of the coaches. Okay. Not so much Matty, as he does a lot of the D, but I do video with Thorny all the time, you know, about a lot of the centerman stuff, not just face-offs, but, you know, positioning, things like that. I did my first 2 or 3 video sessions with him. Over the winter break, when I was home, I did a video session with JR, just going over, you know, things that I can work on mostly. And then really recently, I think it was yesterday, I did a video session at the rink with JR. He pulled up my shifts and we went over them from the Sarnia game. You know, when it's good to look over even the things that you don't want to, you know, even when you have sort of a down game, you want to look at what you did and what you can change to make it a better game, one of your better games. So I think it's important that both of them pull me aside, you know, when I need to be, and every once in a while going over and actually watching yourself play and seeing the decisions you make rather than being in the moment, because sometimes you're not always thinking 100%. So I think watching really helps, and they both take me aside quite a bit, just whether it's video during the game, showing me the iPad, you know, on the bench, going through something. It helps a lot being able to have that access to really see from your guys' angle, really what's going on in the game, because it helps a lot seeing it from that angle, because down by the bench, you know, it's really fast. When you're on the ice, things are moving all around you. It's nice to see the other angle. It really helps you understand what to change or what to keep doing the same.
I know we have to wrap this up. I just want to ask one last quick question about video as well, because JR is always lobbying for you guys to take strong side faceoffs, but obviously you don't always get that luxury. Some of the challenges for weak side draws, like you've had to take quite a few of them. Let's talk about that when it comes to video. Yeah,
I mean, weak side draws are a thing that all centers, you know, sometimes dread, but once you get a hang of it, you don't start to dread it as much. You can be versatile and take draws anywhere, which is a big thing when it comes to during tight games. You know, faceoffs are really a really important aspect of it. So I think working on your weak side faceoffs is very, very key. Not just working that one way where you know you can win it, and then you get on the other side and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do here. You got to have multiple ways that you can win it. So yeah, he helps us practice. Not only watching on the bench after we lose a faceoff, you can, hey, can I see the iPad? I want to watch what happened on that one. what the other guy's doing, whether you're going to go backhand away from the guy dropping the referee, whether you want to go away from him or whether, you take that quick forehand, shoot it to the wall, or try to spin, turn. It all depends on what they're doing, and having the iPad to replay and watch really helps because you can go in slow motion and see exactly what they're doing. And I think that really helps on weak side draws because, you're not always as confident as you are on your strong side.
That's amazing. Mac G, listen, man, want to thank you so much for joining us here on Trout Talk. And, of course, we'll have you on again during the season. We got a lot of games left, my man, but keep up the great work.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, MacGregor.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
See ya.
See ya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was MacGregor Richmond, centerman for the Mississauga Steelheads. When we come back, we'll break down the interview and a lot more as you're listening or watching. Listening to Trout Talk right here, News Talk Saga 960 AM. Welcome back to Trout Talk right here on Saga 960 AM. Mike Karafilidis along with Zack Bodenstein and Brendan Lang. And we just had on MacGregor Richmond, Mac G, with the lights in the background, ready to rave in his room there. Yeah, get the thing going there. But, But, wow. I mean, a guy that's really, he's gotten a lot better this year, game by game. I say it again. Great on the face-off dot. He's actually getting more confident with his shots, too. Well-spoken guy. He knows the game, and he's just getting better, guys.
Yeah, he really is. I think you asked me that at the intermission of the last game as players that are continuing to get better as the season has gone on, and he's one of those guys. And when you talk to him, you can really tell that he has a very deep understanding of how the game works. And obviously, I think that probably goes back to being around the game. And he talked to Zach about that. You had asked him about what it was like being around the game all the time as a kid, and obviously that's helped him out, and he's been able to really carve out a really good role on this team. And we've said it time and time again that the fourth line this year has an identity that they kind of lacked before. You have MacGregor Richmond, who's pretty much playing center on that fourth line every single game, and then you've had some other guys. Eggleton's been down there. Witkowski's been a pretty big mainstay here recently. Sherrod's a little bit in and out, but you have that line down there that he has kind of been the driving force of, and you can see that there's been improvements throughout his game. You talk about the faceoffs is one of them. Mikey, you had said keep shooting the puck is something he's improved on as well. So definitely a lot of things that are continuing to improve in his game.
He has an identity. I think that's so important as a player. He has an identity. He knows he's got to win draws. He has to kill penalties. He has to stay in the middle of the ice, puck support, puck retrieval, just play a smart game. And hearing him break it down, he might be one of the most well-spoken 17-year-olds when it comes to breaking down the game, like Brendan said, like very articulate and analytical. And he's always looking to improve. He's always going to the referee asking like, hey, what happened there? Taking it upon himself to go over video. All this stuff is so important as a young man and as a young hockey player. So I love that. You're totally right about the shot, Mike, because I think his first goal of the year was off the rush. It was a snipe. So he's getting more confident. It all comes down to confidence. And what have we said about Jack Van Volsen? What were we told about Jack Van Volsen? His play and his results started to come around when he was playing more in the middle of the ice, playing more like a centerman and just doing the right things, getting to the right spots. MacGregor's got that idea. And like you told him, Mike, I think the results are going to come more and more as he gets more confident and sticks to his game.
Yeah, exactly. His game is getting a lot better. Yeah, if he sticks to his game, sticking in the middle of the ice. And I like how he fought. I got to go back how he fought Charlie Hilton that one time. You know what? He dropped the gloves and he said, you know what? I'm not backing down. You got to like that, right? For pretty much a rookie. He's only played 8 games last year. He's a rookie this year. He fought a big man. He said, all right, you want to go? Let's go. Charlie Hilton, guys. And he did okay. He did okay, right? So, I mean, he's just getting better and better, so that's great. And hopefully he snipes. I think he could snipe maybe 10 goals maybe the second half of the year. I think that'd be fantastic for him. And I look out for that. All right, so let's move on, boys. Let's tee up the game between the Brantford Bulldogs coming up and the Mississauga Steelheads at the top of the hour. Well, Brantford, we know, has made some trades. Noah Van Vliet's gone. Jorian Donovan's gone. But they still got Sobolev back there, who they picked up. They still got up front. They got Jacky. They got Van Acker. Nick Lardis up there. This is going to be a really, really tough game coming up, but it is still a huge rivalry. Last time these two teams met, the Bulldogs won, but in my mind, the Steelheads were the better team. and a couple of maybe a lucky bounces went the Bulldogs' way to the Steelheads to lose that game, guys.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good analysis of it. It was in Brantford, of course. Now they're coming back home to play here in Mississauga. I feel like these two teams are kind of similar in the trajectory that they're on. Like coming into the year, I don't think people thought either team would be as good as they are, and then you kind of saw both of them sort of maybe not fully go for it. Brantford trading off a couple pieces there. The Steelheads moving on from Xander Vecchia. They bring in Locus. You just mentioned a couple of the other acquisitions that the Bulldogs made. And you just know that every time these two teams meet up, there's going to be some fireworks. There's going to be that rivalry. And MacGregor talked about it a little bit. So definitely exciting when both these teams come to play. And I feel like it's a really even matchup in that sense. They're kind of in similar spots where they're younger teams. People didn't think they'd be as good, and they're really playing up towards the top of the standing. So definitely looking forward to this one coming up next.
Always a great rivalry. So the first game they played, Mississauga blew them out on home ice. We just talked about the most recent game in Brantford. Let's not forget also a young whippersnapper by the name of Porter Martone was not in the lineup for Mississauga. And they lost.
That's right. He was sick. That's correct.
Yeah, they lost 4-2 with an empty net, and the goal was from the corner, and it bounced off. I want to say Guy. I can't remember who it bounced off.
I think it was McDonnell's skate or something like that.
Yeah, either way.
Something like that.
Either way, that game was for the taking too. Now, obviously, you mentioned Jack Guy. Like anytime guys like Jack Guy are in the lineup, there are going to be fireworks, fisticuffs. It is a good rivalry, and you're right, Brendan. I do think both these teams are in similar spots. You know, they each have a couple of young studs up front, a really solid back end, good goaltending. It's going to be a grind. Like these are the games you got to win for playoff positioning. And again, I always talk about prove it games. I think this is a prove it game. This is a measuring stick game where you're going to look back and say, how did we fare against Brantford this year? This could be a 4-5 matchup in the playoffs. You never know. It's so tight up there that you're just going to want to, separate yourself from the pack and really establish yourself as the better team head to head against these teams that you're so neck and neck with.
Yeah, and let's look at the goaltending matchup. It most likely is going to be Ryerson Leaders against Mateo Drobak. Last time, Leaders played absolutely phenomenal against the Brantford Bulldogs in Brantford, but it's just a couple of lucky bounces. I'll say it again for the Brantford Bulldogs, but Drobak has been playing well for the Brantford Bulldogs. It's going to be a big test for those snipers. But what are the keys to the game? I think just for me, I think it's the forecheck. Get the turnovers, start the James Richmond style, snipe it in the net, get a quick 3-0 lead.
Yeah, I think that would be a great plan. I know we only have a minute here left, but the goaltending, Zach had said it. You just mentioned it there. Both guys have been really good. So I think the forecheck is good. And also, there's going to be physicality brought from Brantford. Mississauga doesn't usually shy away from the physicality. So matching that, I think, is also going to be important as well.
Yeah, let's take advantage of a shorthanded blue line now that they've made some trades. And, Brantford, all credit to Mateo Drobak, but this is like the second straight year they've traded a goalie over to Kitchener. Let's take advantage. Come on. This is a big game. This is a young team. Lock down Lardis, and I like their chances.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So let's move on to our quickly life tips. Anybody got anything? No? All right. I don't got anything either. I said it right at the beginning. Don't watch a scary movie before you go to sleep, kids. There you go. Watch Seinfeld. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for episode 23 here at Trout Talk. So for Brendan Lang, Zack Bodenstein, I'm Mike Karafilidis. We'll see you next time, or you can listen to us next time. Episode 24 coming up.